All right. Well, go ahead. What you got?
Okay, why/when did you choose to join the military?
So I was a senior at Ryan, and that's when I decided that I wanted to fly, and so I applied to the Naval Academy and got in. And for 4 years I was in college, and then after that I went to flight school. So that was 1986 is when I was a senior, and then I was in flight school in 1991.
All right. What do you think was the hardest part about your job or going to college at the academy?
The hardest part was basically putting up with the upper class, because as you probably know, as a freshman, things are a little bit different for freshmen than they are for juniors and seniors.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to put up with a lot of stuff, and being at the academy was probably a lot more intense than just being at any normal school. So the freshman year, what they call the plebe year at the academy,
Mm-hmm.
was by far the toughest piece of it. But once you got past that, it was kind of all downhill from there.
All right. What do you think was the most rewarding part in this whole journey?
After graduation, you look back and you made it through the plebe year, and the academics. The academy is a very tough academic school to
Mm-hmm.
go to, and being able to look back and say that you made it through, because we started with 1,400 people and we graduated with just over 900. So we lost like 400 and some odd people to various reasons, be it academic or administrative or disciplinary reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to look back and see that you made it through when a lot of people, 25% didn't, it was something to be proud of. So that was the best, was looking back right after graduation.
So, what do you think was the scariest or most nervous part of this?
When you're flying, and I flew helicopters for 10 years, when you're flying, there's always something that can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so the difference between when you're up in the air in an aircraft and down on the ground driving a car is if something goes wrong in the air, you've got to get back to the ground.
Yeah.
If you're driving a car, pull over the side of the road or you stop or whatever, and then you wait to get help. Well, when you're in the air, there's nowhere to pull over. You've got to get down. And particularly when you're in helicopters, helicopters do not glide like planes do.
Yeah.
So when there's an issue with a helicopter, you've got to get down quickly. And so that's the scariest part of it, is you're trying not to you don't want something to go wrong, but you have to constantly anticipate if something goes wrong. What do I do? Where do I land? How do I handle it? If what they call a caution light comes on the dash, what are the steps to shut the engine down or shut the hydraulic system down, or what are the steps that I need to take to contain that problem so that we can continue to fly and then find a place to land. So that's the scariest part.
All right. What was your daily life like?
We would normally, an average day, we'd probably get in around 6 o'clock. We would brief, which was basically talking about the flight that we were going to fly.
Mm-hmm.
Go out, do the flight. Flight would probably last a couple of hours, and then we'd come back and debrief, talk about what we just did, and then after that, we'd go probably get some lunch, and then come back in the afternoon would be what they call the desk job, where you're taking care of the men in your squadron. And I used to be a maintenance officer, which means that I would the men that were under me were working on the aircraft, so they would take care of the engines or the airframe or something like that. And you'd probably pretty much spend the rest of the day taking care of your desk job, or vice versa. Maybe you come in the morning and do your desk job and go flying in the afternoon or at night. But much every day was a flying event, followed by being a leader and doing your desk job with the guys in the squadron that were under you.
All right. How many years were you in the military?
10. Well, 4 years at the academy and then 10 years after that. So 14 total, but when you talk about actually being out in the Navy, about 10.
All right. Did you do anything to prepare yourself before you entered? Like, practice flying or show any leadership roles specifically? Or
well, as you're going through school, high school, I did not really know I wanted to go until probably the start of my senior year. So I did not do any preparation, but for kids now that I interview that go to the academy, I tell them for your freshman, sophomore, junior year, obviously your grades are important. Mm-hmm. You want primarily all A's, a B or two sprinkled in there is okay. You want to prepare for your test scores, ACT, SAT. And then you want to take, you want to have extracurricular activities, whether that's football or band or science club or whatever. But you also want to be a captain or a leader within those clubs. So if you're a varsity athlete, you want to be a captain. If you're the band, you want to be whatever they call the band leader, or head of if you're a drum line or whatever, you want to be the head of the drum line. If you're in a science club or model UN or all those different things like that, you want to be the president or the vice president or something of that nature. So that's what needs to be done to prepare yourself for the academy and for an eventual career in the Navy. So for my senior year, I was captain of the various football, baseball, and basketball teams and various clubs I was president in. And then as you go through the academy, getting ready to graduate to go into the Navy, it's kind of the same thing, except it's not as it's not as important to be a part of all those clubs. Excuse me, because you take classes and you're prepared every day for in leadership classes. So the fact that you're not part of the chess club president doesn't matter, because you've got classes that are strictly focused on leadership. So you get that education on how to be a good leader through class, not only through practical experience.
All right. Well, that's all. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to do this and for your service.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I appreciate you interviewing me, and I hope everything goes well and you get a good grade.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Bye.